think this is something that is very common in everybody, like in any profession. You encounter these blocks which you put yourself or somebody else puts in you. Somebody else tells you you can't, or you're not doing this good or whatever, and suddenly you start like diminishing yourself and thinking that it's not possible. But nowadays I'm so open to everything is possible that I just when I get an idea, I try to make it possible, and that's it.
Good morning, Claudio. It's so lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Hi, Petra. Great pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. I saw you on Instagram. You are doing a lot of work. You're posting such wonderful work with the piano and I must say, bandonion. And I thought it was the accordion, but it's a bandonion.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of instrument, but I mean, they come from the same family. They're free reed instruments. That means that they produce sound in the same way, but the technique to play them is different, and also the materials are different, the dimensions are different, and that makes, of course, the sound to be quite different.
Now, is it smaller than the accordion then?
Yes, well, there's many types of accordions. So there are very small accordions, which are smaller than a bandonion, but the concert accordion is a concert artist who plays an accordion usually plays very big accordion, which is 3 times bigger than a bandonion and also weighs 3 times as much.
Now, is it a bandonion? Is it a traditional instrument to Spain, or where does it come from?
No, the bandonion is a German instrument. It was invented in Germany. It was invented by Heinrich Band. That's why it was actually patented by Heinrich Band, and he named it Bandonion after his last name. And it was invented around the turn of the 19th century, so 1850, a bit before 1850. And it was invented to, it's not absolutely sure what the reason for the bandonion was, but other than just a nice different instrument, similar to an accordion or to a concertina. It developed from the concertina, which is smaller, and it was supposed to perform music from that area in Germany, like folk music from that area, and also the music that people played at home on the piano or on the guitar and the violin. So classical music and all these kind of things. And it went somehow with immigrants. It arrived to Argentina, and in Argentina it went inside the tango music culture. So tango existed already, but the bandonion arrived, and it suddenly took the highlight. It took the place of all the other instruments. I mean, it became the most important instrument for tango music. So it was not as used in Germany as it was in Argentina.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's these two complete different cultures, the Argentinian very lively and the tango, and the German folk music is not, I mean, yeah, it's lively, but I mean, it's really two different cultures who are now, playing this instrument. That's so
very
interesting.
different.
Yeah. But now, what was it that intrigued you to play the instrument? Because you're a pianist, you also play the piano.
Yes, I was a pianist when I discovered the bandonion. I discovered it in a CD, in an album. I was living in my home country, Peru. I'm from Peru. And my parents were musicians. My father was a pianist and my mother is a conductor. And they had many albums, vinyls, long plays, these big ones. And I used to put them and discover new music all the time. And they had one of Astor Piazzolla, which is the most famous bandonionist in history. And I loved the music. I had never played it before. And I had never heard the instrument before, because in Peru, in my country, it's not a very well-known instrument. Some people play accordion, but not bandonion. And as I said, the sound is particularly different. And also the type of music played with it is usually also specifically tango or other types of music. And I loved the instrument from the very first moment I heard it. But I couldn't get one until I was older. I was 21 when I got my first bandoneon, and I started playing on my own, learning on my own. Of course, I was a pianist already, so that helped a lot. But it's still a new instrument, so I had to learn everything on my own. And I was living in Finland at that time, which is way far north, and there was no bandonionist in the area, so and no internet either. I mean, there was internet, but YouTube didn't exist, and so many things that now are much more available didn't exist. So I really didn't have almost any information about the instrument or how to play it or any references. So I had to begin on my own.
Amazing. And you say that because you're a pianist, it helped. But yeah, the coordination is also a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally different. It's absolutely different. The only thing that helps as a pianist, well, the main thing that helps is, of course, that I already know music. I know how to read music and to interpret it. So I have a musical background and a musical taste. So I can probably be more aware of certain details than somebody who hasn't been trained in music yet. And the dexterity. So that means the quickness and the reflexes of my fingers. So, of course, the piano music, classical music, which is my background is in classical piano music. It's very complex, highly complex music for the mind and for the fingers. It's very virtuosic many times. So you have to develop quite much speed and muscle reflexes and memory. So that's something that helps quite a lot with the bandoneon, because I already have certain techniques which are not the same in the piano as in the bandoneon, but I can somehow translate and apply to them. So that was an aid. But of course the layout of the keyboard, and you cannot see the keyboard when you play because it's on the sides, and all the layout, everything, the way how you produce the sound with the air and with the body and with the arms is completely different. So I had to learn that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you say using the body with that as well. This is also something, I spoke to a violinist the other day, and we almost forget how physical it is to play an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all these movements there must be specific technique to the movements to get the specific sound. So did you get to do lessons then to learn that? Or is it much? Did you have lessons then to learn how to apply the body to this instrument?
Well, eventually, when it was in 2006 when I moved to Holland. So I had been playing the bandoneon for 5 years already, and I could play it already. I already gave concerts and all that, but there were many technical things which I still hadn't developed because I didn't have a reference, a teacher. I had never seen anybody else play bandoneon live, so I was the only bandoneonist that I knew, and my instrument was the only bandoneon I had ever seen in my life. So the first time I saw other bandonionists was when I moved to Holland. I moved there to study a master degree in piano, but in Rotterdam, in the city where I used to live, there is a world music department, and inside the world music department, there's a tango department, and they they still teach tango music there, and they teach bandoneon, and so I took lessons there for a year with a teacher who is one of the greatest bandoneonists in the world. His name is Victor Villena. He's from Argentina, but he lives in Europe. And he taught me specifically many things about the body, about how to use the body to get a proper sound, because bandoneon is an instrument which is not attached to your body, but it's mobile. So it's not like the piano that it's there, the weight is on the floor, so you just have to press the keys. Well, you don't just have to, of course, it's much more complex than that, but you don't have to deal with the movement of the instrument itself in order to produce sound. In other instruments, you do, and in bandoneon you especially do, because it has a bellow. It's really mobile, so you need to have a good control of it. in order to produce the sound, a nice sound, it's very easy to produce an uneven sound because any movement that you do will translate into that. You know, it's like when you're talking, if you're talking and you're jumping, your voice is changing all the time because your body is moving, your instrument, the vocal cord is moving with the air, so it's affecting how the sound comes out from you. So it's exactly the same in the bandoneon. The bellows are like the where the air is being compressed or pulled or pushed, and any movement you do will show. So that's something that that's one of the most difficult things actually in bandoneon. Once you've learned the keyboards, is to learn how to control the sound, to produce a nice sound, to a beautiful sound. It's very difficult.
This is amazing because you use your whole body then to
Yeah,
produce
you
the
do. You
sound.
actually do, yes, because the bandoneon is on your legs. It's played on your legs. Well, you can play sitting down or you can play standing up. I play in both ways, depending on the type of music I play. And in any case, it's either on one leg if you stand up or in two legs if you are sitting down. So the legs have to be very well coordinated so that the bandoneon has a good shape when you are doing it, that it's not like too bent, you know, like a worm.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to, of course, properly use the pressure that you do with your arms, so that it's coming all the way from the hand to the how you call it,
Shoulder.
the shoulder, yes,
Shoulder,
to
yeah.
the shoulder. Exactly, and of course your back and your posture and everything is very important. Like in any instrument, you know, every instrument has its own
Yeah.
physical characteristics which you have to adapt so that you can make the most out of it.
Mm. But can you now play accordion? Is it the same type of technique or is it a different
No,
technique? It's not.
not at all, not at all. It's
Really?
absolutely different. I could play an accordion if it's a piano accordion. So
Oh,
that
okay.
means a keyboard that looks like a
Yeah.
piano. I could play this hand, just the right hand, but the left hand is always completely different because the bass register, it has its own techniques. I couldn't.
Well, this is so interesting that you know, that you just assume, because this is what when I saw it, you just assume it's the same, it looks like the same type of instrument, and you just assume, well, it's one of those, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you can play a violin, you cannot play a cello or a double bass. You know, it's
Yeah, yeah.
a string instrument, but it's a different thing.
Yeah, but it's also when I spoke to the violist, you know, I said, "Can you play the violin?" And well, yeah, but not as you had, as you're supposed to play the violin, because it's the different technique and the different way of playing it.
Yeah.
But you also now play it together with the piano, I see.
You mean at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you manage that? Because now you have to use your body in two different ways.
Yeah, well, it's something that I started doing for fun as a challenge, and it developed into something I did do a little bit more sometimes. In some concerts, I play like this. Of course, you're much more limited in both instruments because you can only play in one hand with the bandoneon and one with the piano, and there's a limit to the amount of movements you can do. But I always try to stretch and stretch and stretch that limit as much as I can. Um, I got a special strap which I put around my leg so that I can hold the bandoneon in place. That helps with especially with the control of the air. You know, like what I was saying before. Um, you really need to use the body to control the air, and in this case, you can't because the half of your body is playing the piano. So that's kind of a substitute. When you strap it to your leg, then it's fixed. And the bandoneon is fixed, and then so you just have to push or pull with one hand, and it makes it a little bit more viable. But it's certainly not easy. But it's lots of fun to do and to try to play some pieces like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think it's because I mean, you started learning to play the bandonion on your own, so you had to experiment and you had to teach yourself. Do you think you are that's why you are inclined to challenge it a little bit more, or to try different things, that you have this freedom, or that you develop this courage to sort of do it.
I'm not sure what the
I mean,
question is.
do you
What do you
think
mean?
so? You've now taught yourself, because you said for 5 years you had to teach yourself to
Yeah,
play the bandonion,
yeah,
and now because it's difficult to do something when you teach yourself, in the sense that there's no rules, there's nobody to correct you all the time, or to
yeah,
put boundaries there for you. So
yeah.
do you think this is why you can now say, so, well, I'm going to challenge to see if I can play the
I
piano?
see what you mean. I see what you
Yeah, yeah.
mean. Well, I'm not sure if that's the reason. I remember once I saw many years ago a bandoneonist who also plays the piano very well to do this as like a kind of musical interlude, a musical joke, not joke, but something like really flashy, like a
Oh,
stunt
yeah,
in a
yeah.
concert, just a little piece. And I thought, oh, that's impossible to do. And I don't think, well, I just thought it's impossible. And
Mm.
once I was speaking with a friend who's actually a very famous opera singer whose name is Erwin Schrott, who lives in Vienna, where you live.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to play together quite a lot. We still play together sometimes. And he challenged me one day to do it. He told me, actually right before a concert, he told me, in this concert you're gonna accompany one song, you're gonna accompany me in one song, playing both at the same time. So
Oh,
I said,
really?
okay, okay. And this was a big opera house in Budapest, the opera house there, and it was not, it was an important big concert with lots of people, and I had never tried it before. And I said, okay, so let's do it. And I went, I did it, and I thought, after all, it's possible. So
Yeah,
the limit is in my mind. When I say this is not possible to do, I'm immediately, tagging this as impossible. But I didn't even think it through. And this is one of the many things that I've encountered in my life that are actually just a construction of my own mind to live in
yeah,
myself, to somehow sabotage the possibilities that I might have. And I think this is something that is very common in everybody, like in any profession. You encounter these blocks which you put yourself or somebody else puts in you. Somebody else tells you you can't, or this is you're not doing this good or whatever, and suddenly you start like diminishing yourself and thinking that it's not possible. But nowadays I'm so open to everything is possible that I just when I get an idea, I try to make it possible, and that's it. Or I make it possible immediately. I don't even try. So that's kind of it became my philosophy after these kind of things, after proving myself that it's possible to play piano and bandoneon at the same time and make it sound nice, because of course you can do it and make it sound awful. So if I can actually do this and make it sound nice, then it's just in my head and my willpower.
yeah. Well, I always like things to be a little bit more unconventional, like you did it as well. And I think sometimes it's needed, to not just be stuck in a way that everybody else is doing it. So
Mm.
it's wonderful that that you were able to do that. But it's also good
Thanks.
when somebody challenges you. Then
Mhm.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes you need that.
you
Sometimes
need
you
that.
need that to, as I said, to realize that you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you're saying that you played with Aaron Schrott. Do you accompany singers a lot?
No, not so much.
Okay.
I work with him. He's a good friend, and it's because well, we started with a show which is it was called Rojo Tango, and we played a lot with this show around the world actually, and he initially called me, of course, because I played the bandoneon for this show, and the subject of the show was tango music, so a bandoneon was necessary. And after that, we got such a good relationship that we continued doing other projects which were not necessarily involved with tango. Now we do a show which is, it has some Latin American music, but also some opera in it, and I play piano and bandoneon as well. We'll be playing in Austria soon, not in Vienna, but I don't remember the name of the city, but in March we will play a concert in Austria
really?
with him, yeah.
Okay.
And maybe I'll tell you later, so in case you'd like to see it.
Definitely.
And that's like a special project. So it's not that I play a lot with singers, but I mostly play solo. I mostly play my own projects, so instrumental music on my own in a recital or with an orchestra, or with an ensemble as soloist. And sometimes I do collaborations. So Erwin and his opera style is one collaboration I do. There's another singer I play with sometimes in Spain, who is Jose Manuel Zapata. He's a very famous tenor here in Spain, a very good one, and also quite unconventional because he also mixes up his program. And so I'm frequently asked to perform, to collaborate with artists who are a little bit out of conventional.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Which is really nice because for me and for them, because for them I can do a wide variety of genres because I play so many genres. I can play jazz, I can play some Latin music, some tango, I can play classical music, and so for them it opens up a lot of possibilities for them. So because usually musicians specialize in only one thing, one genre, and or one instrument or one type of music. So. And of course, there's absolutely nothing bad with it. All of us have a different path and different interests. So, but the point is that I'm asked to perform with people who go with a little bit out of the conventional style. So this is because of my artistic personality.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can really imagine that. But I wanted to ask you about the genres. That is there have you experimented also with the bandoneon in these different genres? Because you were talking about tango music and maybe German music, but what would and now you're mentioning jazz as well.
Yes.
So you really try to do different genres then.
Yes, absolutely. It varies a lot depending on the era. I mean, on the time and the project I'm having in the specific time. So now I'm doing a project of recording Bach music on bandoneon. So now it's mainly classical music I'm playing on the bandoneon. Last year my album was jazz, and so I played jazz fusion and my own compositions on the bandoneon. And so it really depends on the project I'm working on in that moment. So the only condition is that I absolutely love the music and that I have a urgency of playing it. So it doesn't have to do with the style necessarily, but just with the type of music that I want to do or to create at that moment. So style and genre is not at all a box or a limit for me. For me, it's all united.
Okay. And now with the Bach music, you have to do the arrangements now for the bandoneon because it's and you do it yourself.
I do it myself, but there's very little to arrange actually because I try to keep it as close as possible to the original score. And the only things that I change are things of the register. So because, for example, in some music for the keyboard, the keyboard in his time, like the cembalo or the organ, they had a much wider register, so more notes than the bandoneon has. The bandoneon has fewer notes. So if you would think of a piano, for example, that is this long and has this amount of keys, and the bandoneon has this amount of keys. So the ones that are missing in the bandoneon, I have to adapt and make them a bit higher, and I have to make that sound in balanced with the rest of the music and the harmony and the lines. So That's the only thing I have to do, but it's in very few places. So it's mostly quite similar to the original.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, of
But
course,
now,
the only thing that's really different is the way of playing it, because there is no tradition of playing Bach on the bandonion. There is
yeah.
some tradition of playing classical music on the accordion, because the accordion has become a concert instrument, a respected concert instrument in the last few decades, not much before. But there's some great accordionists who play classical music. So you can, as a bandonionist, you can more or less get some inspiration from them. But then again, the way that the sound is produced and the quality of the sound is so different that you have to find your own way to make them, to interpret
Okay.
them.
Mm. But do you also teach now, Bandonion?
No,
You don't? So there's
I don't
not,
teach.
it's not a, oh, okay.
I don't teach at all. I haven't taught for 10 years. I used to be a teacher when I lived in Holland, in a conservatory for mid-level. And I gave it up because I just wanted to concentrate on performing, and that's what I've done for the past 10 years, just performing. And it's not that I don't like teaching, but I like performing so much more, and I can give so much more of myself
Yeah.
performing that everything that is not that is just taking away from that, and then I won't give my full energy. For sure there are people who have great energy to teach, and they will be better teachers because of that, better teachers than me. I'm thinking about teaching a little bit later, perhaps not now, because it really takes a lot of time, and you need some tools to teach. You need
Oh, yeah.
some pedagogic tools, I think, which I don't have. I don't have the education to do that as
Oh, I
well.
see.
Of course, I have a lot of information on how to do things specifically, but I would really need to concentrate a little bit and study a little bit, at least on my own, how to teach and how to get the best out of a student. So it's not something that I'm focused on right now.
But are there many people who are interested in playing the bandonion?
I have no idea actually. It's for me it's
Really?
so strange that anybody would be interested in playing bandonion, because it's such a difficult instrument to play, and it's such a difficult instrument to get and to see.
Okay.
It's not like a piano or a violin. You can see a piano or a violin or a guitar or a cello or a double bass or any of these standard orchestra instruments. You can see them all the time. But the bandonion is a really strange instrument, and when you see it, mostly it's within tango music. That's why most bandonion players
Yeah.
live in Argentina, because there's where the tango is the most relevant in the world. And if you live in Argentina, you probably know what a bandoneon is, but otherwise you might not. Most people, when they see a bandoneon, they think it's an accordion, and rightly so, because it looks like an accordion and sounds a little bit similar. But it's not exactly the same as we discussed earlier, and it's so difficult to get a bandoneon. It's so difficult to get education in bandoneon. So I'm sure there's plenty of people who like it and who think like, oh, it would be so nice to play a bandonion. But to really learn to play it, you need to dedicate so much time and so much effort, and it's so difficult in the beginning to learn to play a bandonion that you really need to absolutely love the bandonion to be able to learn it, I think.
Well, maybe this is, yeah, why there's not many people playing it.
That it's a good
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Claudio, it's now so interesting. I just absolutely, and like I say, I follow you on Instagram. It's always so wonderful that you actually post these videos, because it gives you also an idea of what you're doing and what you're playing and the sound as well. But tell me, what are the wishes now for you for the future? What are your plans for your music and for what you're doing?
Well, I have many plans, but there is a general idea, a general, how do you say this? the purpose, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The general purpose that I have with music, it's never changing. So I can have as many projects as I want, but the idea is that I just want to share music with the whole world, with as much people as possible. That's one of the reasons why I became so active in social media, because I saw in social media an opportunity to get music to so many different people in the world who might not know about the Bandonion, or might not know classical music, or might not know different types of music. And that's why I'm so active, and I investigated so much how to have some success in social media. So I'm constantly improving on that, and I'm constantly thinking what would people like to hear, what would connect more with people. And of course, it has to be absolutely in alignment with what I want, with what I like, with what values I want to communicate through music. And so the basic idea is that music was for me and is for me such an important part of my life because of so many reasons. It's a way of communicating with other people. It's a way of communicating in a nonverbal way, but in a very direct way, through emotions, through consciousness. And it has affected my life so positively, and it has taken me out of so many negative moments and places in my life, that I think it would be such a great opportunity for so many people to use music as a tool to get through many things in life. And there's so many things I could talk about that, but in general, that's my idea. That's what I want. I want to share this beautiful music. I want to share this music that transmits and connects with people, and I want people to be positively affected or even transformed by music. So I want to reach as many people as possible with my music, with the music I play, which is not necessarily my own music, but music of other people. And all my projects will have this as a base, and the objective is going to be that, the goal is going to be that, and I'm going to shape them through that lens. So I have to love the music, and I want the people to fall in love with the music. I want them to have a transcendent moment in their lives when they listen to it. And sometimes that moment is just a few seconds when they see a reel on Instagram, or sometimes it's a deep moment that they spend in a concert hall. But maybe this reel on Instagram makes them want to go to a concert hall, not necessarily my own concert, but somebody else's concert, and maybe they're touched by it. Maybe it changes their lives. I don't know. So this is my main goal, and this is probably what will continue for the rest of my life. Apart from my wish of becoming better all the time in that. So that's a kind of a human quality, I think, that we all need in a way or another. If otherwise we become static, we become bored, we become frustrated because there's nothing that we're really achieving. We're staying in the same place. We're not going forward. And I think humans are meant to move forward all the time in different areas of their life. So music is my pillar from which everything stems. And I want to give this as an example to people.
Amazing. I mean, this really is such a wonderful wish, and I can so totally understand what you're saying, because I really feel that so strongly about this, that people should be more exposed to music and to all forms of art, and I think children as well, because children, at the moment, there's so much emphasis on academic studies and on sciences and maths, and it's also very important. But I also think music and art needs to be more available and for children as well, so that they could get the opportunity and experience it, and also get the opportunity to express themselves. And I think this overall, you know, they will be the future audiences as well. So I think you 100%. I think you have a wonderful wish to you know, to spread your music, and like you said, the love that you have for the music will be what people also feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful emotion, and if you can make somebody fall in love with music, maybe they can experience that and translate it into other areas of their life as well.
Yeah. And you know, you're talking about social media. I've also thought about how wonderful it is that we have social media to be able to do that, that you have it as a tool, you know, to reach people. So yeah, so there are many positives. I mean, look, I found you on social media, so that's a great positive.
Of course, I mean everything is the way that you see it. I mean, you can see different elements as good or bad, like a knife. You can do so many good things with a knife. You can cut your food and fix things and make a beautiful furniture or whatever. You can also kill someone with a knife. So it's the way that you see and use the tools you have. So social media, it can be absolutely destructive for people, exactly for people who are probably lost in purpose or lost in thought or lost in concentration or discipline or whatever. But at the same time, it can give you so many good things. I get so much good things out of social media. I'm not a big consumer of social media. I'm a big creator in social media. So I spend my time in social media creating and posting. But when I consume my feed, when you see the search part in Instagram, for example, my feed is full of beautiful things that I get to know. Beautiful music, beautiful art, beautiful architecture, beautiful nature, beautiful places in the world. And sometimes I really learn something new. Well, actually, I learn something new practically every day just by seeing some posts.
Yeah.
And getting to know a new interesting person around the world, which it's full. We're bombarded. If you see the news, I don't see the news, and I don't have a television. But if you see the news every day, you're bombarded with negativity every single day of your life, and this has happened since you're a child. And so the general things that are the general thoughts are negative. The world is filled with hunger, with poverty, with violence, with etc. But actually, what I see in my life and what I experience in my life is 99% positive, perhaps. Well, I don't know what the real percentage is, maybe less, I don't know, but it's much more positive. I think that humans are much more positive. Well, it's not correct to say that, but I think that the actions of humans in every day might tend to be a bit more positive than negative. I think so. If you see someone in need, normally you will want to help. So this is something positive instead of making more damage. So I like to tend toward that side, the optimist side, and not towards the negative side. So I'm not of those people who say that social media and internet and technology is bad, because I think it makes us much better human beings if we know how to take advantage of it.
Exactly. No, I 100% agree with you. And I think it's the choice. You can choose what you watch. I mean, it's also, you can choose where you go in the world. So you can also, in real life, you can go to places that are not so nice, but you can also choose to go to places that are nice. And I think it's the same as on social media. You choose what you see, and you know, you can choose who you follow, and there's nothing, it's free, you know, it's a free world. You can have your own choices. So I totally agree with you. Oh, I absolutely love this. This is it's exactly my point of view. I totally agree with you there. But Claudia, I just have one more question for you. What do you do after a concert?
What do I do after a concert?
Yeah, do you drink a wine or a beer, or do you go out for a meal? What do you do?
Normally, I go back to sleep to the hotel. because I have like a routine which is very difficult for me to break, which is that I wake up very early in the morning because
Oh, okay.
I go to exercise early in the morning at 5 o'clock. I go running or
Oh,
to the
wow.
gym, and so if I go out, that's much harder to do in the morning. But I anyways do it. So
Mm.
sometimes in a few concerts, sometimes if I'm surrounded by friends or by people I know, I might go for dinner, but normally I don't. Normally
Okay.
I don't eat late, and I don't drink alcohol late. I drink very little alcohol, just in special occasions. So I go back home, and the big moment for me is on the stage. That's where magic really happens. It's kind of like a meditation. You go to a different consciousness. I go to a different consciousness in a way. If I'm not too self-aware, sometimes it happens that you're performing and something just distracts you, or something happens that you're too self-aware of the situation. But what I strive for is to really be connected with the moment. You know, that moment,
Yeah.
special, beautiful moment where music is happening. It didn't happen before. It won't happen again. It's just every moment of music, and it all coordinates together and makes this impression on the people and on me, and I get emotional on it, and it's such a big I mean, I spend so much energy there, physical and emotional energy, that afterwards I'm tired, so I just go
Okay.
to sleep.
Oh, okay.
Normally,
Okay. And hit the gym the next day.
and hit the gym the next day, yes,
Yeah.
or the street if I'm going to run.
To run. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is very inspiring that you do that at 5 o'clock in the morning, I must say.
Well, it was out of necessity because when my daughter was born, she's 4 years old now, but when she was born, I anyway didn't sleep. So
Oh, yeah.
then I just started doing things earlier, and then
Mm.
when she woke up, when she started sleeping a little bit more and woke up a bit later, as soon as she woke up, then you couldn't really do anything anymore at
Yeah.
home. So you couldn't work, you couldn't practice, you couldn't do anything. So I had to wake up early in order to get things done before that. And ever since then, it just has become a routine for me. I mean, now she
Okay.
sleeps very well and she goes to school, so I have lots of time in the day to work. But anyways, I wake up very early and get other things done.
Okay, but wait till she hits her 20s, then you'll stay up late worrying where she is.
Probably. Probably I will, yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, well, there's still some time for that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. But Claudio, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much
Thanks.
for your time. This was such a wonderful interview, and I'm really so happy that we got to talk,
Thank
and
you.
that
Thank you so much.
I understand now something more about the Bandonion. And please let me know when you come to Vienna.
Yeah,
Maybe you have time, we could meet in person, have a coffee.
yeah. That would be lovely. It would be great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, me too. Thanks so much for the
Okay.
invitation. It was lovely speaking with you.
It was lovely for me too. Thank you, Claudio. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.